The sound of 1,000 alien voices filled the grand hall of the Galactic Council, a place where light itself seemed to bow under the weight of authority. The air shimmered with energy fields and translators, each converting hundreds of languages into one shared resonance. Towering beings of light, creatures made of crystal, scaled warriors, and beings of living gas sat in concentric rings around a vast circular floor of silver and obsidian. At the very center stood a single man, tall, composed, and unmistakably human. His name was Ambassador Daniel Reeve, representative of Earth and its newly admitted species to the galactic stage. His dark eyes were steady, his hands resting behind his back. Around him, the galaxy's most powerful civilizations had gathered to pass judgment on humanity's fate. From the highest throne, the High Chancellor of the Council, Valor, rose. His translucent form glowed like molten glass. Species 1127 self-identified as humans, he declared, his voice echoing in layered tones. You have been charged with expansion into restricted territories, interference with pre-contact worlds, and defiance of Council law. How do you plead? Daniel lifted his gaze, the reflection of thousands of alien eyes shining on his face. The hall fell silent, every species waiting for the strange mammal's response. His voice, when it came, was calm. Humanity pleads not guilty. We explored, yes. We defended ourselves, yes, but we did not break your laws. We only refused to kneel. The words rippled through the chamber like a thunderclap. Whispers erupted among the delegates. Some hissed, others trembled. Few had ever spoken to the council in that tone. Valor leaned forward, his voice sharp. You speak of defiance as if it were honor. The council maintains order across 10,000 worlds. Your kind has existed beyond your own moon for less than a century. You dare to challenge us? Daniel's expression did not waver. Challenge? No, we adapt. We learn, we survive. That's what we do. Laughter, cruel and mocking, broke out from one of the upper rings. A scaled alien from the Dravic Dominion rose to speak. Survive? You believe survival gives you power, human. We have ruled for millennia. Your species crawled into the stars yesterday. Daniel turned his head slowly, his voice steady but carrying an edge of something quiet and dangerous. Yesterday, yes. And yet here we stand, we're in your chamber, not as slaves, not as servants, but as equals. That should concern you, the Dravic warrior hissed but sat down. The council murmured. Even Valor hesitated for a moment. There was something unsettling in the human's composure, a stillness that did not belong to a fearful species. At the side of the floor, the massive data pillars activated. A projection filled the air, images of human starships moving near council patrol zones, of colonies spreading along unclaimed sectors, of mining operations on disputed moons. These are the crimes, Valor said. You were warned not to expand beyond your assigned sphere. Daniel studied the images. You gave us a map of dead worlds, High Chancellor. We sought life. You said we were free to explore the ungoverned edges. We did. Then you changed the borders. Valor's tone hardened. The borders are not yours to question. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Neither is our survival yours to command. For a long moment, the chamber was silent. The translator drones pulsed softly, translating every word into 1,000 dialects. Across the tiers, alien faces turned toward one another. Humanity was new, fragile, insignificant, yet somehow they were not acting like it. The High Chancellor rose again. Enough of this insolence. The Council will decide. The floor split into rings of light as each delegation cast its vote. One by one, the colors turned crimson, the symbol of war declaration. A low hum filled the air as the collective verdict was sealed. Valor's voice rang out. By unanimous decree of the Galactic Council, the species known as humanity is found in violation of the Stellar Accord. You are hereby declared hostile to the Galactic Order. A deep sound, almost like thunder, rolled through the chamber. The decision was final. Humanity, the youngest voice among the stars, was now the enemy of the entire galaxy. Daniel Reeve stood motionless as the hall erupted in noise. Delegates shouted, armies were mentioned, strategies whispered. The sound of power and fear blended into one chaotic storm. When the noise finally began to fade, Daniel stepped forward, the sound of his boots echoing in the chamber. You all believe you know war, he said quietly. You've seen conquest, suppression, control. But you've never seen desperation. You've never seen what a cornered species will do when survival is all it has left. Valor's glow intensified. Are you threatening this council? Daniel met his gaze. No, I'm warning it. The silence that followed was colder than any void. No one had ever spoken to the High Chancellor that way. He turned and began walking toward the exit platform. Two council guards, towering insectoid sentinels, stepped forward to block his path. Daniel stopped between them, his face calm. "I came here to prevent war," he said softly. "You've chosen it instead." He looked up at the rows of delegates and added, "You think we'll beg. We won't. We don't ask for mercy. We prepare." He stepped onto the platform and vanished in a pillar of blue light as the teleport beam activated. For several seconds, no one spoke. The echo of his final words seemed to linger in the vast hall, bouncing between the ancient pillars like the aftershock of a distant quake. When Valor finally spoke again, his voice trembled, not with fear but with unease. "Send word to the fleets. Begin the cleansing of soul." The chamber erupted again, but this time there was a tone beneath the noise, an undercurrent of doubt. In the upper rings, an elderly alien scholar whispered to his aide. They didn't plead. They didn't deny. They didn't even shout. They just walked away. His aide tilted his head, confused. "And that frightens you?" The scholar's eyes, pale and ancient, turned toward the empty center of the chamber. "Yes," he said, "because silence can be louder than any declaration." Far away, on the edge of the solar system, the human flagship Valiant Dawn floated in the shadow of Neptune. Inside its command center, Admiral Lena Carter stood before a holographic projection of the Council's declaration. "Unanimous," her officer muttered. "They've declared total war. We're outnumbered, outgunned, and—" "They underestimate us," Lena interrupted. Her eyes were cold, her voice steady. "That's their first mistake." The officer frowned. "Should we send a response?" Lena looked at the stars on the display. Thousands of worlds now marked as enemy territories. "No," she said. "Not a word." Across the room, silent signals began to pulse. Encrypted transmissions racing toward hidden colonies and deep space stations. Earth's command network came alive, lines of code linking every satellite, every ship, every defense grid. There were no public broadcasts, no threats, no messages of vengeance, just quiet activation. In underground facilities beneath Earth's surface, immense machines hummed to life. Under the oceans, sealed hangars opened, and far beyond the moon, cloaked stations powered up their energy cores, vanishing into stealth fields. Humanity's silence wasn't weakness, and it was movement. On the Council's side, the first fleets began assembling. Thousands of warships formed an armada that stretched across the void like a sea of steel and light. Commanders boasted that the human species would surrender within weeks. But as the armada advanced toward the Sol system, strange reports began to emerge. Unmanned scouts sent ahead disappeared. Communication relays failed without reason. Navigation beacons flickered out one by one. The Council's intelligence officers dismissed it as technical interference. But deep in his chamber, Valor couldn't forget the human's final words. "You think we'll beg. We won't. We don't ask for mercy. We prepare." He tried to ignore the unease creeping through his crystalline body. Yet as the first fleet crossed into soul space, all contact with them vanished. No signals. No distress calls. No wreckage. Just silence. And somewhere, hidden in the cold darkness beyond Mars, a human voice whispered through encrypted channels. They declared war. Let them come. The Council's armadas swept across the stars like storms of metal and fire, cutting through unclaimed sectors and distant colonies. Thousands of alien ships, each bristling with weapons designed to annihilate entire planets, advanced toward Sol with the certainty of dominance. Yet the humans did not respond. No fleets launched from Earth, no messages were sent. The silence was absolute. In the Galactic Council chambers, the delegates watched the unfolding events through live transmissions. Screens displayed empty star systems, black space where human colonies should have resisted. Lieutenant General Kivar of the Dravik Dominion leaned forward, claws tapping against the viewing platform. "This is impossible," he muttered. "They should be defending their outposts. They should be scrambling fleets." An advisor of luminescent gas, its form flickering nervously, whispered, "Perhaps they've surrendered. Perhaps humanity finally understands its place." Kivar turned sharply. "Surrender?" he snapped. "They are not sending a word. That is not surrender. Silence is a weapon." At the center of the Council, the High Chancellor Valor's form dimmed slightly. He had watched the human ambassador walk from the chamber without fear. Now the echo of those words haunted him. You think we'll beg? We won't. We don't ask for mercy. We prepare. Every sensor the Council had sent towards Sol space came back void. Probes vanished without a trace. Surveillance drones failed mid-flight. Even the fastest communications relays registered nothing beyond the orbit of Neptune. In orbit above Mars, a hidden human command center hummed quietly. Admiral Lena Carter studied the displays of the approaching fleets. The projected armadas of alien species were enormous, thousands of ships in formation, yet not one human vessel was visible to their sensors. Lieutenant Farid, a young officer monitoring external readings, frowned. Ma'am, we're detecting multiple fleet movements, but they're invisible. Our scanners can't lock onto them. Carter's lips pressed into a line. Good, she said. They'll think we're hiding. That's exactly what we want. For centuries, humans had studied war not as a science but as art. Every battle, every strategy, every ambush recorded in history had been learned from survival. Now humanity was using the galaxy's arrogance against itself. They were playing silence like a weapon. Deep in the council chambers, whispers spread among alien leaders. They do not communicate, said an elder scholar of the Karathi species. They have no emissaries. They act without declaration. It is unnerving. A young delegate, metallic and sharp-edged, clicked its mandibles. It is a tactic I do not understand. How can a species do nothing and still be considered dangerous? Because they are not nothing, the elder replied. They are everywhere and nowhere at once. That is what frightens us. In distant colonies, human settlements that should have been destroyed or captured remained intact. Planets in disputed sectors showed no signs of human retreat. Yet alien fleets sent to attack found them abandoned. Cities stood empty, technology left intact. But the occupants were gone, moved before weapons could strike. On the Council's war room displays, a general of the Zilari species slammed a claw against the table. How can they vanish? They have no warp technology advanced enough to escape detection at this scale. Valor's voice cut across the chamber. Silence will not save them forever. The fleets will find them. We have not faced a species like this before, but we are the Council. We control the galaxy. They will fall. Yet even as he spoke, a ripple of doubt moved through the assembly. The humans had not responded to any provocation. They had not sent ambassadors, threats, or even pleas. Their calm defiance was shaping the galaxy's perception, a perception that made commanders uneasy, questioning their confidence for the first time. Back on the Valiant Dawn, Admiral Carter stood in the observation deck overlooking Neptune's shadow. Her crew moved with quiet efficiency, each station activated, but no unnecessary words were spoken. Orders were transmitted through encrypted channels, instantly reaching hidden colonies and deep space platforms. Lieutenant Farid hesitated. Ma'am, if the Council suspects anything, they'll accelerate their attacks. Their fleets are massive. They outnumber us by hundreds to one. Carter turned, her gaze calm, and yet they are blind. They cannot see what is already in motion. They do not know the game we are playing. They assume silence is fear. That is their mistake. She moved closer to the central console. Prepare the planetary grids. Activate stealth protocols across all unclaimed sectors. Deploy the hidden defense arrays near the asteroid belts. Let them think they have the advantage. Let them think they are in control. Farid hesitated. They could strike first. They could. Carter interrupted softly. But they won't. Not yet. Patience is our ally. Thousands of kilometers away, under the oceans of Earth, massive subterranean facilities came to life. Starships built in secret were raised from hidden bays. Satellites long cloaked with energy fields blinked awake. Mining stations transformed into mobile supply points. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades, and every silent action now was part of a plan no alien mind could predict. In the Council, anxiety grew. A message from the front lines arrived. Fleets dispatched to intercept human colonies simply vanished. Not a trace of human vessels remained. Communication with the front lines had gone dead. Panic rippled among the delegates. Valor rose again, his translucent voice trembling slightly. Investigate. Send scouts. Send spies. Find them. If they escape our fleets, it will be a failure beyond measure. A young scholar whispered almost to herself. It is as if the humans are everywhere and nowhere. Their presence is a shadow. Across the Sol system, hidden fleets maneuvered with precision. Human ships employed quantum veil drives, technology decades ahead of anything the Council knew. Fleets vanished from sensors, only to appear in positions that seemed impossible, ready to intercept any attack with surgical accuracy. Admiral Carter watched the reports. "We don't need to attack," she said. "Not yet. Let them expose themselves. Let the Council reveal their weaknesses. Then we will act." The silence from Earth, from human colonies, and from their hidden fleet spread uncertainty across the galaxy. Generals argued with their subordinates. Scholars debated strategy. A species that had never known fear was beginning to feel it. In one of the observation chambers, a Dravic commander spoke quietly to his aide. "They are not hiding out of fear. They are thinking, calculating, waiting. That is terrifying. They are turning our own arrogance against us." Valor's voice, louder now, commanded attention. "The Council will crush them. We have resources. We have fleets. We have authority. The humans cannot withstand our might." Yet in the quiet of his chambers, Valor could not shake the feeling that something had shifted. The humans had chosen silence over communication, strategy over desperation, patience over reaction, and that choice was slowly and visibly tilting the balance. On Mars, a hidden human station transmitted a coded signal to every colony and platform. The message was simple but powerful. Prepare, wait, and observe. Not a word of anger, not a word of threat, only instruction. Lieutenant Farid asked again, "Admiral, what is our endgame?" "We've hidden. We've let them think they are in control. When do we strike?" Carter's gaze moved toward the black void beyond Neptune. Stars shimmered faintly, distant and indifferent. "When the galaxy expects nothing, when they believe they are untouchable, then we will show them humanity is not a species to be underestimated. Silence is our ally. Preparation is our weapon." Far away in the Council chambers, a report came from a frontline fleet. Entire armada lost. No survivors. No wreckage. No record of combat. Gasps spread across the assembly. Failer's voice, almost a whisper, resonated in the hall. "How?" The elder scholar's voice cut through the murmurs. "Silence," she said. "They do not speak. They do not react. And in that silence, they are already winning." In the shadows of the solar system, human fleets maneuvered with precision unseen by alien eyes. Silent drones mapped every approach, every movement of the Council's ships. Hidden arrays disrupted sensors and communications. Entire strike formations vanished as if swallowed by the void. Lieutenant Farid looked at the star field on the display. "It's beautiful," he said softly. "They don't see us coming, yet we are already everywhere." Admiral Carter smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly. "Let them watch. Let them wait. Silence is louder than any alarm." And far beyond the Council's reach, across the hidden stations and cloaked ships, humanity waited, patient, prepared, unseen. The galaxy had declared war, but humans had already answered, without a single word. The Council chambers were alive with tension that no amount of protocol could hide. Delegates whispered urgently across their assigned platforms, the sound of alien tongues overlapping in a jarring chorus. Screens displayed the latest intelligence. Reports, but the images were confusing, contradictory, and impossible to interpret. Entire fleets sent to engage human targets had vanished without a trace. Colonies that should have been under siege reported only silence, as if humanity had melted into the void itself. High Chancellor Valor stood at the center of the chamber, his translucent body glowing faintly in agitation. "Explain these anomalies," he demanded, his voice echoing in overlapping tones. "We dispatched 4 strike fleets to intercept human settlements. They do not respond. They do not defend. They do not even appear on sensors." From the upper rings, a Dravic commander snarled. "They are hiding. They must be hiding. They cannot vanish like this. There is no technology known to us that can cloak thousands of ships across light years." Valor's gaze swept the chamber. "Then they are not just hiding. They are preparing something, and whatever it is beyond anything we have ever faced." At that moment, the chamber doors hissed open. A delegation from the Sol sector, human in form but unseen until now by the galaxy, entered via secure transmission. The Council's translators buzzed, struggling to render their calm, measured words into alien tones. Ambassador Daniel Reeves' image appeared on a massive display, his figure larger than life to every delegate. "You call this war?" he said quietly. yet every species in the chamber heard the weight behind the words. We call it preparation. You declared hostilities against a species you do not understand. That will be your first mistake. Valor's light flared with anger. You have no authority here. You cannot speak to the council while war has been declared. Reeves' eyes glinted. Authority is irrelevant. You control fleets, you control bureaucracies, you do not control us. A shiver ran through the chamber. Delegates whispered among themselves. For centuries, no species had defied the council so openly. No species had spoken with such calm while the entire galaxy's military might was arrayed against it. In the shadows of Sol space, humanity's hidden fleets began to move. Admiral Lena Carter oversaw the operations from the command deck of the flagship Valiant Dawn. The human ships, invisible to alien sensors, slipped between sectors, slipping past patrols and positioning themselves near strategic points without a single detection alarm. Status report, Carter said. Lieutenant Farid, scanning the feed of fleets and colonies, shook his head. All strike targets are in position. The fleets are cloaked. No sensors can detect our presence. The Council has no idea where we are. Carter's expression was unreadable. Good. Begin Project Umbra. Across the hidden networks of the human forces, vast artificial intelligences came online, weaving intricate paths through the Council's communication webs. Project Umbra was a silent infiltration designed to penetrate systems that the Council believed impenetrable. It was not a weapon of destruction, not yet. It was a tool to turn the Council's own technology against itself. Back in the chamber, Valor's translators crackled with distorted data. Reports of failures came in, each more disturbing than the last. Scout drones disappeared mid-flight. Communications failed across entire fleets. The Council's own sensors seemed to flicker and distort. A Zilari fleet commander shouted in panic, "We are blind! Every probe we send vanishes. Communications are down. Our ships are drifting without guidance." Valor's voice, sharp and controlled, cut through the chaos. "Send reinforcements. Deploy all available assets. Find them." A scholar of the Karathi species, known for her decades of study on emerging civilizations, spoke softly, almost to herself. They do not attack. They do not reveal themselves. And yet, they are already winning. Meanwhile, hidden human operatives, genetically modified to mimic other species, infiltrated Council installations through secure channels. They worked quietly, sabotaging systems from within, turning data, arrays against fleet navigations, and leaving the Council scrambling to maintain control. Every system the humans touched bent the galaxy's own machinery to their advantage. On a holographic display aboard Valiant Dawn, Carter watched the Council's fleets falter. Thousands of ships now drifted in unplanned formation. Their energy, weapons, intended for human colonies, discharged without guidance, striking their own vessels or empty space. Lieutenant Farid's eyes widened. "Ma'am, they're attacking themselves." Carter nodded. "Exactly. Let them think it is coincidence. Let them believe it is a mistake. Let them underestimate what is already happening." In the Council chambers, Valor's glowing form pulsed with frustration. "We have never faced a foe that operates without sound, without declaration, without confrontation. How is this possible?" A delegation of insectoid species hissed. "Their fleets must be cloaked beyond detection. They cannot attack openly, yet they disrupt everything we send." Valor shook his head. "Cloaking alone does not explain this. This is coordination. This is strategy. They are thinking faster than we can respond." In the depths of Sol space, humanity's fleets were indeed everywhere and nowhere. Each movement had been calculated decades in advance, exploiting weaknesses in the Council's reliance on predictable strategies and energy distribution. Every empty planet, every missing probe, every vanished ship was part of a larger plan that no alien mind could anticipate. Admiral Carter issued the next order. Begin Operation Stillwater. In one synchronized moment, human AI networks launched precision strikes on Council shipyards across 13 systems simultaneously, not with weapons but with sabotage. Navigation systems failed, fleet coordinators lost control, and repair facilities self-destructed in automated fail-safes. Alien ships that had never been designed to fail began to crumble from within. The Council's screens filled with confusion. Reports of entire strike formations ceasing operations came from all directions. No explosion, no radiation, only silence and the eerie disappearance of command structures. Valor's voice grew louder, strained. Contain the spread, re-establish, order. Do not allow this chaos to continue. A Dravic general slammed his clawed hand against the platform. They are inside our systems. They are controlling our fleets from within. How can a species this young do this? The Karathi scholar's eyes were steady, observing every transmission. Because they have nothing to lose. Because they are patient. Because they understand the universe differently than we do. Far away, deep beneath the surface of Earth, massive control stations continued their silent work. Every action was coordinated with invisible efficiency. Energy grids redistributed to hidden arrays. Cloaked fleets adjusted positions. Communications flowed only where humans wanted them to go. The Council had declared war, but every move the humans made undermined it before a shot could even be fired. Back in the chambers, Valor's pulse of light dimmed slightly, a sign of distress among his species. We have underestimated them, he admitted aloud. We have never faced a species that fights without fighting, that moves without moving. We have never faced humans. Even the delegates, those who prided themselves on centuries of conquest, whispered in alarm. Humanity's calm, their silence, their ability to manipulate entire fleets and systems without appearing, challenged every assumption about power in the galaxy. The Dravic commander muttered, "They are ghosts, shadows moving through our fleets, and they are winning." Daniel Reeves' voice, calm and steady, echoed across the Council's communication networks. You think victory is declared by numbers. You think authority ensures obedience. You have forgotten one truth. We survive. We endure. We adapt. And when cornered, we act. In that moment, every delegate understood that humanity's war was not conventional. It was a storm moving through the galaxy, silent yet unstoppable. The fleets the Council had counted on were no longer tools of power but pieces in a game they could not control. In orbit above Mars, Carter watched the results of Operation Stillwater unfold. Ships that had been threats for decades now drifted powerless. Shipyards once considered impenetrable were incapacitated. The Council's confidence was shaken to its core. Lieutenant Farid swallowed nervously. They will regroup, ma'am. They must have reserves. Carter's expression was calm. Let them try. The galaxy will learn something important in the coming days. Humans are not what they expect. We never have been. And in the heart of the Council, as reports of failure, chaos, and vanishing fleets came in, Valor realized a terrifying truth. Humanity had not yet struck openly, yet it had already begun to win the war. The galaxy had declared war. Humanity answered, without a word. The shadows of soul space shifted silently, preparing for the next move. And the Council understood finally that patience, intelligence, and strategy could be more dangerous than any weapon. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council had never known silence like this. Even in times of conflict, the chamber had always vibrated with the hum of negotiations, disputes, and urgent chatter. Now, as the Council observed the Sol system, the usual noise had been replaced by a tension so thick it pressed against the senses. High Chancellor Valor hovered above his platform, his crystalline body glowing faintly. Screens before him showed the outer systems of Sol, but no signals reached them. Every probe sent to monitor human movements vanished. Every fleet that had crossed into their space disappeared from sensors, and the colonies the Council expected to burn remained untouched, silent, and empty of the expected human responses. A Dravic general hissed, claws clenching the edge of the observation deck. They should be moving. They should be attacking. Why are they not here? Valor's gaze swept the chamber. We cannot know where they are. Every advance we send is met with nothing. No resistance. No communication. Silence. From the upper tiers, a counselor of luminescent gas whispered, "It is a silence filled with intent. It is not fear. It is calculation. Valor's glowing form pulsed in agitation. Then we must find them. We must force them to respond. Far across the solar system, humanity's fleets were indeed everywhere and nowhere. The ships floated in the shadow of planets behind asteroids, within the folds of invisible energy fields that shielded them from detection. Satellites blinked alive, hidden from alien sensors, transmitting encrypted signals to hidden colonies and command centers. The humans were not idle. They were preparing. They were waiting. On board the flagship Valiant Dawn, Admiral Lena Carter observed the incoming signals of the Council's fleets. "They are blind," she said quietly. "They do not know what is coming, and yet every movement they make plays right into our hands." Lieutenant Farid, monitoring the status feeds, shook his head. "They've been declared war on. Entire fleets have been sent to intercept us. How can they not detect our presence?" Carter's eyes narrowed. "Because we don't want them to. They think they control the battlefield. That illusion is far more dangerous than any weapon we could deploy." Meanwhile, back in the council chambers, panic began to spread. Reports of fleets vanishing, communication breakdowns, and navigation errors flooded the platforms. Generals argued with commanders. Scholars whispered about the humans' audacity, and Valor, normally unshakable, felt a rising unease. A Zilari admiral leaned toward his aide. "Their fleets are supposed to be destroyed by now. Entire colonies should be under our control, yet nothing happens. Where are the humans?" His aide's response was slow, uncertain. "I do not know. It is as if they exist beyond our reach. Our weapons cannot touch them. Our sensors cannot find them. And yet what?" the admiral demanded. "They are controlling the battlefield," the aide whispered. "They are moving without moving, and they are winning without a fight." In the hidden stations beneath Earth, human AI networks orchestrated the next phase. Project Umbra had already infiltrated key council communication nodes. Systems that once coordinated fleets now transmitted false data, sent ships into misaligned trajectories, and caused energy grids to fail at critical moments. The council had declared war, but humanity had already seized the advantage. On Mars, a concealed human command station coordinated operations across multiple sectors. Holographic displays showed alien fleets drifting into empty space, firing at targets that no longer existed, while their coordination systems struggled to recover from the subtle manipulations of human infiltrators. Admiral Carter watched the reports, her face calm. "Activate the next wave. The outer colonies will be protected by stealth grids. The fleets will be misdirected. Every movement they make will bring them closer to our preparation zones." Lieutenant Farid looked at her. "Do we attack directly?" Carter shook her head. "Not yet. The galaxy needs to feel the full weight of what they cannot see. Silence is our ally, observation our weapon. When they finally act, it will be on our terms, not theirs." Across the council, chaos mounted. Fleets in multiple sectors had lost coordination entirely. Generals tried to re-establish control, but the systems themselves seemed to betray them. Ships collided, weapon systems malfunctioned, and communication relays failed without explanation. The High Chancellor's orders, normally absolute, were delayed or corrupted by the very networks he relied upon. Valor's crystalline form pulsed with anger. "We have underestimated them," he admitted aloud, his voice echoing in the vast chamber. "We cannot attack a foe we cannot locate, a species that does not play by our rules. Every action we take is countered before we even perceive it." In a corner of the chamber, an elder Karathi scholar observed silently. "This is more than strategy," she whispered. "They understand the galaxy differently. Their patience, their planning. It turns our strength into weakness." On hidden human fleets, the silence continued. Ships remained cloaked, moving like shadows across sectors, never appearing where the enemy expects them. Drones and reconnaissance units disrupted alien sensors, feeding false signals and phantom targets. Every council fleet that thought it had an advantage was now operating blind. A report flashed across Carter's command console. Entire strike armadas had ceased functioning, drifting in space without coordination. The council's own AI, infiltrated and manipulated, had rerouted energy systems to cause failures across multiple shipyards simultaneously. Farid's eyes widened. "They've done it again. Another fleet gone." Carter's voice was steady, almost serene. "Yes, let them count their losses. Let them think it is luck. That illusion will break them faster than weapons ever could." Within the council, Valor's unease deepened. The humans had not engaged directly, yet the galaxy's power structure was crumbling. Entire sectors were rendered ineffective without a single human attack. The armadas that had once symbolized unchallenged authority now floated helplessly, manipulated by a species they had dismissed. A young Dravic commander hissed to his superior. "This is not war. This is subversion. They are inside our systems and we cannot touch them." Valor's glow dimmed slightly. "They have already won in ways we cannot comprehend. Every move we make is anticipated. Every fleet we send is misdirected. We face a species that thinks beyond our perception." In the depths of Earth's command networks, human AI continued to weave the Council's confusion into a seamless strategy. Hidden colonies received encrypted orders, moving ships to positions unseen, preparing for a decisive moment when the galaxy would finally understand what patience, preparation, and silent strategy meant. On Valiant Dawn, Carter looked at the silent starfield stretching before her. "The galaxy thinks it has declared war, but we have already begun to answer. Not with destruction yet, but with control, with preparation, with invisibility. They do not even realize they are losing." Farid swallowed, awe in his eyes. "We've never fired a weapon, and yet—" Carter's eyes swept the void. "And yet the galaxy trembles because it cannot see us. Because silence is louder than any declaration. Because fear does not always roar. Sometimes it waits." Back in the council chamber, Valor addressed the delegates. His voice trembled. "Prepare for contingency protocols. Send scouts. Mobilize all remaining forces. Humanity has proven it is beyond our comprehension. We must adapt or face extinction." A Karathi scholar whispered to a nearby aide, her voice trembling. "They have made the stars themselves uncertain. Every system, every fleet, they have turned our order into chaos without lifting a weapon. That is true power." Far across the galaxy, hidden fleets adjusted positions, maintaining their invisible advantage. Every colony, every ship, every command station operated in perfect coordination. Humanity's silence had become a symphony, orchestrated to undermine a galaxy that had declared war too soon. In orbit above Mars, Carter looked at the projected positions of the Council's forces. "Prepare for the next phase. They are blind. They are exposed. When we strike, it will be decisive, and they will not even know it was coming." Farid nodded. "And the Council? What will they do when they finally see?" Carter's expression was calm, almost unreadable. "They will understand too late. We have waited. We have prepared. We do not fight like them. We do not fight on their terms. And that is why we will win." The stars of Sol, once shining with ordinary light, seemed darker now. Across the galaxy, alien fleets drifted in uncertainty, blind, powerless, and unable to predict the next move of a species they had underestimated. Humanity had answered the call of war, but they had done so without a single word. And the galaxy would never forget the day the stars went dark. The council chambers were filled with a tension unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. Delegates hovered anxiously above their platforms, whispers of confusion and fear rippling through the tiers. Every screen showed the Sol system, yet nothing there looked like the battlefield the council had expected. No fleets clashed, no cities burned, no alarms blared. High Chancellor Valor's crystalline body flickered with agitation. His voice echoed through the hall, resonant but strained. "Report, where are the human fleets? Where are their colonies? Why do they not respond?" A Dravic general hissed, claws gripping the observation rail. "We see nothing. They should be defending themselves. They should be retaliating. Where are they?" Valor's glow dimmed. "This is not conventional war. They do not fight like we expect. Every system we probe is silent. Every fleet we send is misdirected or destroyed without trace. We are blind." From the upper tiers, an elder Karathi scholar spoke softly, her voice trembling slightly. "They have not attacked openly yet, and still, they have already won in ways we cannot comprehend. Their strategy is beyond any galaxy's tradition." The chamber went silent as a massive communication array blinked to life. The image of Ambassador Daniel Reeve filled the center of the grand hall, larger than life and calm as ever. "You declared war," he said, voice steady and resonant. "Yet you never understood what you were challenging. We did not retaliate at first. We did not strike. We observed. We calculated. We prepared. And now—" His gaze swept the chamber unwavering. "Now you know that fear is not born of brute force. It is born of understanding your own limits." Screens across the council showed reports from the outer fleets. Ships once considered unstoppable were drifting, their navigation systems failing. Starports self-destructed under automated sabotage. Entire armadas that had crossed into human space were now immobilized, victims of systems the Council could not repair. A Jilari commander shouted, "They control everything. Their fleets are unseen, their networks are impenetrable, their colonies hidden. How is this possible?" Reeves' voice continued, calm and precise. "It is simple. We never fight on your terms. We never engage where you expect us. You declared war thinking you were the hunters. You are not. You are the prey of a species that adapts, calculates, and endures." In the shadow of Neptune, hidden human fleets adjusted positions silently. The valiant Dawn at the center of the network coordinated movements that made the Council's fleets misalign, collide, and malfunction. Every hidden station transmitted instructions to colonies and remote units. Every ship moved like a shadow through the galaxy, invisible yet omnipresent. Lieutenant Farid looked at Admiral Lena Carter. "They think they are in control, ma'am. They believe their fleets dominate Sol space." Carter's eyes were cold, focused. Let them realize too late that the battlefield was never theirs to control. Our advantage is patience. Our weapon is silence, and our victory has already begun. Reports continued to pour in. Strike fleets sent toward the human homeworld vanished. Drones and probes disappeared. Navigation systems failed mid-flight. Communications went dark across entire sectors. Humanity had not fired a shot. Yet the galaxy's most powerful armadas were paralyzed, unable to operate. Valor's glow pulsed with anger and fear. "Prepare contingency fleets. Mobilize all remaining forces. We must locate them," the elder Karathi scholar whispered to her aide. "Locate them? They are everywhere. They are nowhere. And they are already inside every system you think you control." On Earth, hidden stations and cloaked fleets prepared the final phase. Project Umbra had corrupted Council networks, rerouted energy grids, and turned weapon systems against their own ships. Humanity's colonies remained untouched, unseen, and protected by stealth grids. Every action taken by humans was precise, deliberate, and devastating in its subtlety. On board Valiant Dawn, Carter studied the holographic projections. "Prepare the final wave. The Council's fleets are blind. Their command systems failing, their forces paralyzed by their own arrogance. When we strike, it will not be retaliation. It will be revelation." Farid swallowed, awe in his eyes. "Ma'am, the galaxy, they've never faced this." Carter nodded slightly. "They will remember it forever. This is not just war. It is the lesson of humanity. We survive. We endure, we adapt. And now the galaxy will understand fear in a way it has never known." In the Council chambers, Valor's voice shook. "We have underestimated them. We have never faced a species that does not act by our rules. Every move we make is anticipated. Every fleet we send is misdirected. We are losing control," a Dravic general hissed. "They are invisible, untouchable. They have turned our fleets against us. They are omnipresent." Reeves' voice filled the chamber again. "You see, we did not answer your declaration of war with fleets or fire. We answered it with preparation, strategy, and silence. You declared yourself hunters. But hunters are blind to the prey that adapts to every trap." Screens flashed across the chamber, showing Council fleets spinning out of control, unable to communicate, misfiring, or immobilized. Every attempt to regain order failed. Every strike sent against human colonies ended in confusion and self-inflicted loss. The High Chancellor's glow dimmed further, his voice resonating with disbelief. How can such a young species do this? How can humans control the battlefield without combat? Without confrontation? A Karathi scholar whispered, voice trembling. "Because they are patient. Because they understand the universe differently. They survive not by dominance but by foresight. And they endure where others fail." Far from the Council, hidden human forces moved with precision. Every ship, every station, every network node contributed to the silent offensive. Cloaked squadrons intercepted fleets. AI networks rerouted energy grids. And planetary defenses remained undetected until the moment they would be needed. The galaxy had declared war, but humanity had already dictated its course. Carter turned to Farid. "We will not attack until the Council believes they are victorious. Then we will act. The galaxy will not just see us fight. It will realize it has been outmaneuvered without understanding it. That is when fear takes hold." Across the Council, reports of fleet failures continued. Generals and admirals argued. Delegates demanded answers, but every system they relied on was already compromised. Every advantage they thought they held was an illusion. Valor rose, his voice echoing across the chamber. We must strike at their homeworld. We must destroy Earth before they consolidate their strength. Reeves' calm, unyielding voice answered, You cannot destroy what you cannot find. You cannot attack what does not reveal itself. We do not fight where you expect. You have declared war, but we have answered in silence, strategy, and patience, and that is the most dangerous weapon of all. In the shadows of soul space, human fleets adjusted one final time. Project Umbra had rerouted council systems entirely. Fleet coordinators malfunctioned. Strike formations were immobilized. Sensors picked up nothing but the void. The galaxy's greatest armadas, once symbols of unmatched power, floated helplessly. Lieutenant Farid's voice trembled. It's complete. They don't even know what's coming. Carter nodded. Exactly. And when they finally realize it will be too late. They declared war, but we answered. And now the galaxy will learn fear. In the council chambers, Valor's pulse dimmed to a faint glow. Delegates whispered, panic spreading through every tier. Humanity, the youngest species in the galaxy, had shown the limits of arrogance, the power of patience, and the strength of strategy. They had not struck with weapons, yet every system, every fleet, every council resource was paralyzed. Reeves' image remained, calm, unwavering. You asked for war. We did not beg. We did not plead. We prepared. We survived. And now the galaxy understands what we always knew. Fear is not in the blast of a weapon. Fear is in the realization that you are powerless against a species you do not comprehend. And somewhere, deep in the hidden reaches of soul space, human fleets and colonies waited silently, patient and prepared. The Council's fleets drifted, broken by unseen hands, and the galaxy trembled at the quiet power of a species that answered war without a word.